So I am Brittney Potter. I am the traffic and financial supervisor for the circuit clerk's office. And this is Misty McEntire, the criminal supervisor. So
Morning.
we are sister departments as I process all the basic traffic anywhere from a seatbelt ticket up to felony murder. So we work together. And so we're going to just go over a few scenarios as to the difference in between simple traffic ticket versus obviously higher charges. So we've worked up questions,
Just
skits.
questions and answers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brittney, I'm so glad I saw you here today with me because I have a question. If I got a ticket, what do I do? What do I expect?
Absolutely. So as you can see on this example ticket, there is a uniform citation number at the top corner. Generally, that is going to be your case number, except in the instance that you get multiple. You got 4 tickets in one stop. That's going to obviously generate a different case number. First thing we ask is that you search your name on CaseNet. Once it is on CaseNet, that means it's in our system. Until it reflects on CaseNet, we don't have any information. All tickets go through the prosecuting attorney's office, and as soon as they're transferred to us, it's created into a case. So from that, there'll be a court date listed on the ticket. The officer is required to list a court date. That is not 100% set in stone. Generally, we try to go by that, but unfortunately, there are days that the court is closed. We don't have judges available for those scheduling dates. We try to occupy with all of our associate judges. By chance, is the address listed on your court date your accurate mailing address?
Yes, it is.
Perfect. So if in doubt, that court date is not accurate, once it is filed with the court, then we will give you 4 to 6 weeks notice ahead of time, set a new court date out, allowing you to make personal arrangements with work, childcare, things of that nature to schedule it.
Well, with that, do I have to appear?
Good question. So we do have NACA cases, which are non-appearance case automation. There are lower infraction and traffic tickets that once online, you can plead guilty, pay, and not appear. Traffic, seatbelts, failure to register, lower speeding charges. That way it doesn't disrupt your personal life, as well as you having to take time off work to come to court. So there is that plead and pay option online.
So if I do the plead and pay, is that going to assess points on my license?
Good question. So we do not handle the assessment of points on your license. That is all the Department of Revenue. However, if you do wish to talk to the prosecuting attorney, they do make arrangements for those that are concerned about that. Generally, we see where they amend the charge to a lesser speeding charge, so it doesn't assess that many points, or the judge and prosecuting attorney will come to an agreement to allow you to complete a specific course in lieu of points. So you still plead guilty to that charge, but when you complete that program, it will, in a sense, credit points back to your license.
And can I keep it off of CaseNet? I don't like anybody seeing my stuff.
Most cases on CaseNet, depending on the security level of the case type, they are public for the record. There are specific dispositions, certain probation ones that once successfully completed, it does automatically raise that security level, so it is not accessible on CaseNet unless ordered by a court. It is accessible on CaseNet.
And how long do I have to pay?
So generally, the court gives at least 30 days to pay. So they do not expect you to show up to court and pay same day. Not everybody has it on them or wait for a pay period. So court usually gives you about 30 days. While in court, if you need longer than that, that's something you definitely need to speak with the judge about. They can make accommodations. We've seen anywhere from 2 months to pay up to 1 year to pay, assessing payment plans. So that's definitely something to discuss in court. If for some reason your due date that you agreed upon with the judge comes and is about to pass and you're just unable to take care of it, we always recommend getting an extension. Because if an extension is not given, then you start the process of collections. We can suspend your license, and they can intercept your state taxes, and it will affect you possibly getting any hunter license in the future.
I am a big hunter. I can't let that happen.
So Misty, hypothetically, I have a cousin that got caught stealing last week. I did advise her to look on CaseNet, but it's not there. What can she expect going forward?
Well, let me tell you what I've learned at the circuit clerk's office for charges such as this. And by the way, super nice and very helpful. They get all their initial filings from the prosecuting attorney's office, ranging anywhere from a seatbelt violation to murder. All the cases start at the associate level, so depending on the severity of charges, it could be filed as a misdemeanor. And what that entails is once the charges are filed, a judge and a court date are assigned, and a summons is sent to the last known address. So be sure the address is updated if needed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does she have to appear in court?
Oh, once her court date arrives, she can appear pro se or hire an attorney to appear for her, or sometimes the court does want the appearance from the defendant. So tell her, don't miss her court date. If she misses a court date, a warrant could be issued for arrest. If she does get arrested, then she's going to have to bond out either with cash, a bondsman, or she might have to sit there until the court wants to see her. And when she has her day in court, she'll be able to speak to a prosecutor who will go over what she's being charged with and an offer. And from what I've seen, it could be anywhere from fines, some kind of probation, maybe with restitution. And once that is agreed upon, the judge approves the sentence. She can come straight to the circuit clerk's office right after court to pay her fines and costs if the court has assessed. Or the court, like you said, will usually give 30 days longer if requested. After her court is done, her judgment will come to the circuit clerk's office for processing. They will dispose of her charges and send any necessary paperwork. But if her case is a felony, meaning she stole a lot, then her case would start at the warrant in that instance. I would have her check CaseNet periodically because she may want to go to court as soon as possible. If it's a felony, her case will still start at the associate level, but if the charges are great enough, it could get bound over to the circuit level court. This means a lot more court dates, a possible bench trial, a jury trial, and if she's found guilty, it could mean a longer probation with more conditions. So I hope her case does not get bound over to the circuit level, or worse, a grand jury indictment.
Which we've seen a few of those lately.
Yes.
So our office did work closely with law enforcement agencies with the request of, they are roadside, they're issuing a ticket, and they get a lot of questions of first-time offenders or people that just moved to the area and don't know what to do. So we worked directly with the sheriff's office and then different agencies as to creating a pamphlet, like a handout for them to hand out with your ticket to help advise defendants where to go, what to expect, give them a direction, and to get those officers off roadside of answering those questions. Because the quicker they are not roadside with the defendant, the safer they are. So I'm going to have Misty made some copies just for you guys to see. So what this is, it has QR codes on both sides. So when your case is filed, obviously go on CaseNet, or this QR code links you to CaseNet. It just kind of lets you know where to appear, because a lot of people that are new to the area don't know where to go. They also want to know about payments. They want to fit that into their financial personal life of when to pay. The other side is manage your case. So once your case is filed, if you want to file any type of change of address or act pro se on your case, we generally see people hire attorneys or they want to act on their own behalf. So manage your case is where you can do filings as a defendant on your own case if you prefer to act on your. And so this is just, and it also just kind of has a Q&A there just to let people know if it's not filed. It is not the end of the world if it's not filed by that court date. Unfortunately, with the inflow of the traffic tickets with the prosecuting attorney's office and our office and staffing, everybody does the best they can, and I'm sure you understand that. So we try to work in a timely manner. With the non-appearance cases, that's something that is statewide. We do not set those fine schedules. That is a state fine schedule. It is available online. So those that are non-appearance, the state has directed that. However, we assess our own court costs. They range anywhere from $91.50 for an infraction up to misdemeanors are $118.50 and $131.50, and then felonies, that completely depends on your restitution, if you have law enforcement recoupment, things of that nature. With financials, we handle all of the financials across the board for all of our sections, which we only represent 2 sections in our office. We have civil and domestic. They handle mechanics liens, small claims, circuit civil, landlord cases, ex parte, domestic cases, child support and divorce. So we accept in all filing fees for any of the filings, court costs. We balance daily, we balance monthly. We go through the county auditor. So our office does a lot more than what we are representing here. And let me just say, we are not attorneys. We do not practice law. We do not attempt to interpret the law. We just validate the case and just make sure the information that is put on your case is for your case, is validated. We want to make sure that you were given a speeding ticket on the side of the road, and by the time it's filed, it's not something different for the wrong person or the wrong charge given to the wrong person. And then when attorneys file things on your case, we want to make sure it's for your case. So we are just in charge of validating the court record and making sure it's in accurate detail, because not only the product you see on CaseNet is the product of what our office and the court put it into the system. And so we want to make sure, especially what you're given in court, is what is listed. We are human. People make mistakes. They are fixable. So that may have been a little fast. Is there any questions or any other avenue we can go down for anybody, hypothetically or not? Yes. Then I would just advise people. So a lot of people, we get calls. Oh, sorry. The question was, what if she didn't want to plead guilty? We get that question a lot when people say it wasn't my fault. The officer wouldn't listen. We hear all the stories. What we just advise people to do is come to court. We are not the court, so we can't change the situation of your case. Only the prosecuting attorney and judge can. So I don't want people to waste their breath on telling us the story, because we're just the keepers of the court record. So come to court, talk to the prosecuting attorney, validate your story with them, because we won't be able to do anything. And I don't want to mislead anybody to say, oh yeah, and that's the thing, is we can't give legal advice. I don't want to say, if you do this, this, and this, you'll get out of it. Because I have seen so many scenarios where I think it's going to go one way and it goes a different.
I think we just suggest to bring anything that you can to support your case.
Yeah.
If I wanted to leave no contest or defer adjudication, is that something that I discussed with the prosecuting attorney and judge?
Let me repeat that. If she wanted to plead no contest, yes, anything. So there's a prosecuting attorney in every courtroom. And so generally they like to speak with you before you are called up to work out some type of agreement of obviously how you're pleading, and then what they're offering. And then you guys come to an agreement, and then that's brought before the judge. So it's not something you sit up there and you just argue with the courts. You guys work out an agreement beforehand, because there's a prosecuting attorney in every courtroom. Yes.
So were the officers showing up on a lot of those to testify, or is that not usually?
We do see a lot of officers. So I guess depending on the severity of the case and also the charge, possibly the listed probable cause statement on the ticket. I have seen them show up for tickets, and then obviously
Luckily for DWIs and assaults, your higher misdemeanors, lower felonies. Yes, we see a lot of officers in there.
This was a very good idea. You said this was recently.
So I want to say it was towards the end of the last year, when one of the captains came to us and just said, a lot of people are having questions roadside. And he was like, I just don't want my officer standing there for 30 minutes trying to explain people to where the moment they get pulled over, they just start freaking out and they just don't know any information. And so it was something that they could issue with the ticket, stapled to it, put in an envelope, just to kind of give them general direction. Because once it's on CaseNet, we can generally advise them over the phone how to proceed, answer their questions, advise them if they'd like to hire an attorney. But we are a college town. And so we get a lot of younger kids that have never gotten a ticket before or don't live around here generally, and they don't know what to do. So it was just a double-sided handout. Because we did acquire Ashgrove and Fairgrove, these have been dispersed to all agencies. As to whether they use them, that is completely up to them, but it's something that we directly work with the sheriff to advise, just to kind of provide to the public to give them general direction. Any other questions? Yes.
If you plead guilty and don't go to court, does that save you your court fees?
Nope. So even on the non-appearance cases, those still have court fees. So when you plead guilty versus like the non-appearance ones that you can plead guilty online, there are still the state fine schedule and a court cost that's assessed, because it is still processed through the county and processed by the court. So there are court fees. A lot of people say, well, I didn't appear in court, my attorney did, so why am I getting court fees? Or we do have some infraction cases that they get a default judgment, meaning you get a seatbelt ticket, you didn't have your updated address on the ticket, and so you didn't appear in court. In specific instances for infractions, which are lesser seatbelts and stuff of that nature, the judge can enter a default judgment, meaning you aren't there, but they find you guilty and they assess a fine. And that was implemented because they were tired of issuing warrants for seatbelt tickets that linger out there for a $10 seatbelt ticket. And then later you're out with your family, you get picked up and hauled in on a warrant for a $10 seatbelt. So the lesser infractions, even the lesser infractions, they still assess court costs. But there is the option of a default judgment, but once again, given 30 days to pay on that.
These wonderful court fees, how are they distributed when you collect them? I know you're always the bad guy, you're having to collect them, but where do they go? What are they used for? What do they pay for? Do they support the bailiff's salaries? Do they heating and air at the courtroom? What does it do?
So all of our court costs are by statute. So we are considered a first-class county. And so we assess the first-class county court costs. I don't specifically have the breakdown, but I will tell you a lot of people question that, because if you see the full breakdown, it's like obviously sheriff's retirement, there are court fees, clerk fees. They are distributed by statute at the end of the month. We pretty much clear out those accounts and distribute them. We give them to the county, we send them to the state, we send them to the sheriff's retirement fund, different things of that nature, but it is all by statute. We do not collect anything for air conditioner, carpet, nothing like that. So it's all statute driven. Any other questions? Yes.
Just the sheriffs that issue tickets, or do the city police also issue tickets that?
So we have the Springfield Police Department, and those tickets generally, not always, generally go to the Springfield Municipal Court. They're the city courthouse. So we usually see tickets from the Missouri State Highway Patrol that are doing the highways, obviously the sheriff's office, and we do receive conservation tickets because we process the conservation tickets, and for anyone that hunts or fish, those are also, certain ones are non-appearance also, so that you can pay those online. Yes.
You guys did a really good job presenting this morning.
Sorry, I feel like we were kind of rambling.
You did very
Oh,
good.
I guess there was
I'd also
one
like
news.
to compliment you on managing of your finances.
Oh.
You turn those finances into our office monthly. The detail that goes into that, and the accountability for what you receive and how you distributed really, really nicely done. So thank you for your hard work on that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, our finances is something that even throughout the state of Missouri, OSCA has, we're one of those that we don't wait a few months to reconcile our accounts. It's something that we pretty detailed on. And so this is one last slide I forgot to put up. Just as a reiteration, we can do collections on any past due fees. We can suspend the license. So we can
Just on driving offenses.
Yes, just on driving offenses. Now, if you have a warrant that remains outstanding, they can suspend your license, once again, on driving offenses. So we suspend for 2 reasons. Failure to pay if it remains outstanding, as well as if your warrant kind of lingers for a little bit. We can suspend your license. It's kind of more of a push for people to get in and get their stuff taken care of. So always request an extension. We can intercept the state portion of your tax refund. If you owe the state any type of money, they can intercept your taxes, and then that is sent to the counties that you owe fines and costs for. And then once like we mentioned, it can affect your ability to get any type of future hunting license or hunting permit if you owe the state money. Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.